Welcome back to the final episode of A Living God by Lafcadio Hearn. In our previous video, we had seen how Hamaguchi Gohei was worshipped like a god. He was called Daimojin. And more striking was the fact that he remained humble and lived an ordinary life up on the hill with his children and grandchildren, while his spirit continued to be worshipped in the village below. In today's video, we will explore the philosophical implications of this. What were the normal belief system of the people of the East regarding the spirit, and how did our Western author, who appeared as a skeptic, question the Japanese philosopher? Let's deep dive into the text and find out. I asked a Japanese philosopher and friend to explain to me how the peasants could rationally imagine the spirit of Hamaguchi in one place while his living body was in another. So our author, Lafcadio Hearn, he comes from a different tradition. He is a man who belonged to different places. I had discussed his biography in detail. If you go back to the video, you will find in the introductory video that I have spoken in great detail about Lafcadio Hearn's background, which is no less than a fairy tale story. But here in this part of the story, he brings forward the skepticism of the West. And he feels, how can one rationally explain that a man who continues to live, his spirit is worshipped elsewhere? Also, I inquired whether it was only one of his souls which they had worshipped during his life, and whether they imagined that particular soul to have detached itself from the rest to receive homage. So he kept asking different questions. He asked whether they believed that the body and the soul could reside separately, and was it a particular soul that detached itself from the rest of his body only to receive homage from his people. The peasants, my friend answered, that is, the Japanese philosopher, think of the mind or spirit of a person as something which even during life can be in many places at the same instant. So this Japanese philosopher, he explains the author that the peasants, the farmers, they commonly believed that the spirit of a person or the mind, it is mobile. It can move around. Even during life, it can be in many places at the same time. Such an idea is, of course, quite different from Western ideas about the soul. And he clears up the author's confusion. He says that it is true that this notion of soul and spirit is quite different from that of the West. Any more rational? I mischievously asked. So now the author teased the philosopher and asked him whether he can inform him about anything more rational than this. Well, he responded with a Buddhist smile. If we accept the doctrine of the unity of all mind, the idea of the Japanese peasant would appear to contain at least some adumbration of truth. Though the author challenged his Japanese friend, he was able to come forward with an explanation. He said if one could believe in the doctrine of unity of all mind, that is interconnectedness of all beings, that is a common philosophy in Buddhism, where one believed that one's soul or one's spirit is present in every element of nature. In every being, a part of the soul resides. If one can believe in that, then one can find at least some adumbration. Adumbration means faint indication of truth. So one would be able to understand the peasant's philosophy. Then he teasingly adds, I could not say so much for your Western notions about the soul. So the Japanese philosopher, he teases the author and says, however, I will not be able to clear up the Western notions about the soul. That I am not aware of. So in this particular story, we have seen how not only a heroic deed has been accomplished, but how heroism lies in ordinary lives and in ordinary men. How extraordinary situation can turn someone who is perhaps physically feeble into a hero. How heroism does not reside in physical prowess, but in the ability to understand and connect with nature, and in case of Hamaguchi Gohei, his ability to save and sacrifice for the good of his community. Hence, it is justified that this chapter is named after him, after his contribution. We have come to the end of the chapter. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, please write it in the comment section. If you like my work, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such interesting explorations into literature. Thank you for watching.